Right now, a coin worth over $1 million could be sitting in your pocket, and you don't even know it. Imagine this, right now, sitting quietly in your pocket, your drawer, or maybe even your old coin jar, there could be a simple penny worth thousands, or even more. And the shocking part is, most people spend it without ever noticing. Today, we're talking about the mysterious and highly collectible 1941 wheat penny, a coin that looks ordinary, but in rare cases, can be worth serious money. So before you spend your next penny, watch this video carefully till the end. Because what you're about to learn might completely change how you look at your spare change forever. Let's start with the basics. The 1941 wheat penny is part of the famous Lincoln wheat cent series, minted in the United States between 1909 and 1958. On the front, you'll see Abraham Lincoln's portrait, and on the back, 2 wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent. At first glance, it looks like just another old coin. But here's where things get interesting. In 1941, millions of these pennies were produced. In fact, over 1 billion coins were minted across 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. That means most 1941 pennies are common, and usually worth only a few cents, but not all of them. Some rare versions of the 1941 wheat penny can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Now you might be wondering, what makes one penny valuable and another worthless? Let's break it down. First, condition is everything. Coins that are in uncirculated condition, meaning they were never used in everyday transactions, can be worth significantly more. A shiny, well-preserved 1941 penny with sharp details can easily sell for $10 to $50, and in top condition, even more. But condition alone isn't what creates massive value. The real money comes from rare errors and unique variations. One of the most valuable types is the 1941 double die penny. This happens when the coin is struck twice by the die, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the letters and numbers. If you look closely at the date or the word Liberty, you might see a shadow-like duplicate. Collectors love these errors, and they are willing to pay big money for them. Another valuable factor is the mint mark. That if your 1941 penny has a small d or s under the date, it means it was minted in Denver or San Francisco. Some of these versions, especially in high-grade condition, can be worth much more than the standard Philadelphia coin. Now here's the part that most people don't know. Even though the 1941 penny is not typically $1 million coin, rare combinations of condition, mint mark, and errors can push its value into the thousands. And when you combine hype, rarity, and collector demand, prices can go even higher. That's why stories of $1 million pennies spread so fast, because in the world of coin collecting, one tiny detail can change everything. So how can you check if your 1941 penny is valuable? Here's what you need to do. First, look at the date carefully. Make sure it clearly says 1941. Second, check for a mint mark below the date. No letter means Philadelphia. A D or S could increase value. Third, examine the coin under good lighting. Look for doubling in the letters or numbers. Fourth, check the condition. Is it worn out, or does it still shine? And finally, don't clean the coin. Cleaning can actually reduce its value. If you think you found something special, consider getting it checked by a professional coin grading service. Now imagine this. You're about to buy something small, you reach into your pocket, pull out a penny, and without thinking, you spend it. What if that penny was worth hundreds, or even thousands? It happens more often than you think. That's why collectors always say, check your change. Because hidden treasures don't always look like treasure. Sometimes, they look like an old, forgotten coin. Right now, there could be a small, ordinary-looking penny sitting in your pocket, your wallet, or even your home, that could be worth a fortune. It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Today, we're diving deep into the mystery of the 1942 wheat penny, a coin that most people ignore, but collectors are hunting for every single day, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, how much it's worth, and whether you might already have one. So don't skip, because this might be the most important coin video you ever watched. Let's begin. The 1942 wheat penny is part of the famous Lincoln wheat cent series, produced in the United States from 1909 to 1958. On the front, it features Abraham Lincoln, and on the back, 2 wheat stalks that give the coin its iconic name. Now here's where things get interesting. The year 1942 was during World War II, a time when metals were extremely important for the war effort. Because of this, the U.S. Mint was preparing to change the composition of pennies. In 1942, pennies were still made mostly of copper, about 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, and the weight of each coin was around 3.11 grams. But in 1943, everything changed. Pennies were made from steel instead of copper. And this is where one of the biggest coin mysteries in history begins. Some extremely rare 1942 pennies, due to minting errors or transitional changes, are believed to have unusual characteristics that collectors pay huge money for. Now let's talk about value. Most 1942 wheat pennies are common. If your coin is worn and circulated, it may only be worth a few cents to a couple of dollars, but if your coin is in uncirculated condition, meaning it still has its original shine and sharp details, it could be worth anywhere from $10 to over $100, but that's just the beginning. The real money comes from rare errors and special varieties. One of the most valuable types is the 1942 double die penny. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by the die, creating a visible doubling effect on the letters or date. If you look closely and see doubling on Liberty or In God We Trust, you might be holding something rare. Another important factor is the mint mark. There are 3 versions of the 1942 penny. No mint mark means Philadelphia, D means Denver's means San Francisco. Some of these versions, especially in high-grade condition, are much harder to find, and therefore more valuable. Now here's the part that makes people excited. While a normal 1942 penny is not worth $1 million, certain rare coins from this era have sold for thousands, and in extremely rare cases, even more. And the reason people call it a $1 million penny is because of the possibility, the mystery, and the fact that one tiny detail can completely change its value. Now imagine this. You find an old coin jar at home, you start going through it, one by one, and suddenly, you spot a 1942 penny. Most people would ignore it, but now, you won't. Here's exactly how to check if your 1942 wheat penny is valuable. First, check the date carefully. Make sure it clearly reads 1942. Second, look for the mint mark under the date. Third, examine the coin under bright light. Look for doubling in the text. Fourth, check the condition. The cleaner and sharper the coin, the higher the value, and most importantly, never clean your coin. Cleaning can destroy its value instantly. If you think your coin is rare, take it to a professional grading service or coin expert for verification, because that one coin could be worth far more than you ever imagined. And here's the truth. Every day, rare coins are accidentally spent, lost, or ignored, simply because people don't know what to look for. But now you do that, so the next time you get change, don't just spend it. Check it, look closely, because hidden treasures don't always shine. Sometimes they look like an old penny from 1942. Right now, take a second and think about this. What if a simple penny, something you might ignore every day, could actually be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more? It sounds crazy, but for some rare coins, it's absolutely true. And today, we're uncovering the secrets of the 1948 wheat penny, a coin that looks completely ordinary, but could secretly be hiding serious value. So before you spend your next coin, make sure you watch this video till the end, because you might already have one of these without even knowing it. Let's start with the basics. The 1948 wheat penny is part of the famous Lincoln Wheat Cent series, minted in the United States from 1909 to 1958. On the front, you'll see Abraham Lincoln, and on the back, 2 wheat stalks that give this coin its iconic name. This coin is made mostly of copper, about 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, and it weighs approximately 3.11 grams. Now here's something important. In 1948, millions of these coins were produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with a D, San Francisco with an S. Because of this high production, most 1948 pennies are very common. If you have a worn, circulated 1948 penny, it's usually only worth a few cents, but don't stop watching, because some versions of this coin are worth much more. Let's talk about value. If your 1948 wheat penny is in good condition, it could be worth between $5 to $20. If it's in uncirculated condition, with original shine and no wear, the value can jump to $50, $100, or even higher depending on the grade. But here's where things get really exciting. the real value comes from rare errors and unique features. One of the most valuable types is a double die error. This happens when the coin is struck twice, slightly misaligned, creating a visible doubling effect on the text. If you notice doubling in Liberty or the date 1948, you could be holding a rare and valuable coin. Another thing to watch for is a repunched mint mark. Sometimes the mint mark was stamped more than once, slightly off position. This creates a shadow-like effect around the D or S, and collectors are always looking for these rare variations, and of course, condition plays a huge role. Coins that are bright, detailed, and untouched can sell for hundreds of dollars, especially if they are graded at a high level like MS65 or above. Now let's talk about the big question that I asked: there really $1,001,948 wheat penny? The honest answer is, not exactly. There is no confirmed 1948 penny that has sold for $1 million. But here's the truth that makes this topic so exciting: some rare coins, because of extreme condition, historical importance, and collector demand, have sold for massive prices, and every year, new discoveries are made. Coins that people thought were ordinary turn out to be extremely rare. That's why collectors always say the next big find could already be out there. Maybe in a coin jar, maybe in your pocket, or maybe in an old collection that hasn't been checked in years. Now imagine this scenario: you're cleaning your house, and you find an old box of coins. You start going through them, not expecting much, and then you see it, a 1948 wheat penny. Most people would ignore it, but now you know better. Here's exactly how to check if your coin is valuable. First, confirm the date. Make sure it clearly reads 1948. Second, check the mint mark under the date. Third, use good lighting or even a magnifying glass to look for doubling or unusual markings. Fourth, examine the condition. The less wear, the higher the value, and most importantly, never clean your coin. Cleaning can reduce its value instantly. If you think you found something special, take it to a professional coin grading service for authentication, because that one coin could be worth far more than you ever imagined. And here's something you should never forget: every single day, people spend rare coins without realizing it. They pass through hands, stores, and banks, completely unnoticed. But not anymore, because now, you know what to look for. What if I told you that one of the most famous and valuable pennies in history might still be out there, hiding in plain sight, not in a museum, not locked away in a vault, but possibly in someone's pocket change? Today, we're talking about the legendary 1955 wheat penny, a coin that shocked the world and became one of the most wanted error coins ever created. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this coin is so valuable, how to it, and how much it could be worth today. So don't skip a second, because this might be the coin that changes everything for you. Let's start with the basics. The 1955 wheat penny is part of the famous Lincoln wheat penny series, minted in the United States from 1909 to 1958. On the front, you'll see Abraham Lincoln, and on the back, two wheat stalks that give this coin its iconic name. Like other wheat pennies, the 1955 version is made of 95% copper, with a weight of about 3.11 grams. Now here's where the story gets interesting. In 1955, something went wrong at the mint. A mistake happened during the production process, and that mistake created one of the most famous coin errors in history. It's called the 1955 double die penny. This error happened when the coin die received a misaligned double impression during manufacturing. As a result, every coin struck from that die showed clear and dramatic doubling on the front, and we're not talking about small details. The doubling on this coin is so strong that you can see it clearly with your naked eye. If you look at the words, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1955, you'll notice a bold shadow-like duplication. It almost looks like the coin has been printed twice, and that's exactly why collectors go crazy for it. Now here's the shocking part: thousands of these error coins were accidentally released into circulation before the mistake was discovered. That means people actually used them in everyday transactions without realizing what they had. Some were spent at stores, some were given as change, and some are still out there today. Now let's talk about value. A normal 1955 wheat penny, without any error, is usually only worth a few cents to a few dollars depending on condition, but the 1955 double die penny, that's a completely different story. Even in worn condition, these coins can sell for $1,000 to $2,000. In better condition, prices can jump to $5,000, $10,000, or even more. and in top uncirculated condition. Some examples have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. That's right, all from a single penny. Now imagine finding one of these in your change. It sounds unbelievable, but it has happened before, and it can happen again. But here's the truth you need to know: not every 1955 penny is valuable. You must be able to identify the real double die error. So here's how you can check. First, look at the date, make sure it clearly says 1955. Second, examine the front of the coin carefully, focus on Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see strong, obvious doubling, not just a slight blur, you might have the real thing. Third, check the condition. The cleaner and sharper the coin, the higher the value. Fourth, be careful of fake or machine doubling. Some coins may look double due to damage or wear, but true double die errors are very clear and consistent. And most importantly, never clean your coin. Cleaning can destroy its value instantly. If you believe you found a real 1955 double die penny, take it to a professional coin grading service for authentication, because that one coin could be worth more than you ever imagined. Now let's go back to the big idea. Why do people call this a $1 million penny? It's not because every coin is worth $1 million, but because of the possibility, the excitement, the idea that something so small, so ordinary, could be worth a life-changing amount of money. And in the world of coin collecting, that possibility is real. Coins with rare errors, historical importance, and collector demand can reach incredible prices over time, and the 1955 double die penny is one of the best examples of that. So the next time you get a penny, don't just spend it, check it, look closely, because hidden treasures don't always shine. Sometimes they look like a simple 1955 wheat penny.